Let's close this view and then we're gonna look at the files you'll get. The first file is the trial balance. That's where we start. Inside the folder, you will see monthly trial balances saved as CSV files. When you open one, you'll find 3 columns: account, account name, and amount. It's very simple. It's your fact table, the base for everything. Next, let's open the chart of account files. This table has key details we need: account number, account name, category, financial section, and caption. Normally, the account number connects to trial balance, so every transaction can match the descriptions. Each account also belongs to a financial category, like asset, liability, equity, revenue, expense, etc. Later, we'll use the categories to roll up numbers into the right section of our report. In this file, you'll also see financial section column. It tells you whether the account belongs to the balance sheet or income statement. Then there's a financial caption, which actually defines how each line appears in your final report, right? Like cash or cash equivalent, account receivable, or operating expenses. This chart of account is a dimension table. After linking the tables, we're going to check for duplicates. In Excel, you can use conditional formatting or remove duplicates to make sure each account number appears only once. This step keeps your data clean. The chart of account is the backbone of your financial model. It tells the system how to read every transaction and where to show it on the report. Sometimes your trial balance comes in a wide format, each month in a separate column, like January, February, March, and so on. That layout is easy for people, but not for the tools. For reporting models, we need to convert it to a long format, where each row shows one account, one month, and one value. So let's bring in the trial balance first. All right, what we are going to do is get data. In this case, the trial balance is inside a folder, right? Instead of loading a single file, we can actually bring in the entire folder at once. There is an option in Power Query to get data from file, from folder, as you can see. You'll see different options like Excel workbook, text CSV, or database sources, but we don't need to go through all of them now. Later, we'll look at creating a blank query, but for now, let's just pull data from the folder. The easiest way to copy the folder path directly and paste it in. Once you do that, Power Query immediately shows your preview, the metadata from the folder. You will see columns such as content, name, extension, date created, date accessed, and the folder path. That's the basic structure that Power Query automatically recognizes. Now, if you look at the options, you can choose combine and transform data, combine and load, or combine and load to. Those are useful when you know all your files have identical clean layouts. In our case, we need a few transformation steps, so instead of loading directly, let's just select transform data. Once the folder is connected, you will see the preview. Here, the key columns we care about are content and name. Each content value represents the binary file. That's our actual trial balance data. Let's open one file to confirm what's inside. You'll notice something important. None of those trial balance files actually include a date field. So we don't know which month each file belongs to, and that's something we have to create ourselves. Fortunately, when I save these files, I include the month information in the file name. For example, trial balance _ April _ 2024.csv. We can extract that month and year from the name column. When you click on content cell, you'll see the file size, name, and type. The extension column is fine. We don't really need it. So let's just keep only the content and name columns and then remove the rest. Just right click and choose remove other columns. Now, because these are CSV files that I built earlier as a proper data set, we just need to extract the useful part of the file name. There are several ways to do that, but here's a clean approach. We'll use replace values to remove any unnecessary words like trial balance. Then we also remove the extension .csv extension. After that, we'll deal with the underscores. To convert the cleaned name into a proper date, first replace each underscore with a slash. That gives Power Query a recognizable date pattern. If you try converting directly before this step, it will throw an error because it can interpret the string. Once you replace underscores with the slashes, Power Query recognizes as a valid date format. Now, rename the column to something clear. I usually call it month and date. By default, when you transform it into a date type, Power Query set it to the first day of the month. But for reporting purposes, we usually want the month and date instead. So go to the Transform tab, Date, and the month. Now your date column correctly shows the last day of each month. Perfect for matching month-end financials. At this point, you have a clean folder connection and the proper date column. What you can do next is click on the content column and Excel will automatically evaluate it. Power Query looks at the first file, checks the first column, and then builds a preview of the structure. When you click OK, it usually does a good job. Don't get me wrong, it's smart. But it can also create extra helper queries and then sample steps that clutter things up. Sometimes it's missing something or adds a few unnecessary files. The whole workspace starts to look messy. So what I'm going to do is go back a few steps and then clean this up manually. I don't want all those additional auto-generated files. I just want one clean query to work with. Now, the more you can use Power Query, the more natural it becomes. Since we import CSV files quite often, I'll show you a method that's both cleaner and more flexible. If this is your first time, just follow along with what I'm doing. It will make sense as we go. So instead of letting Excel decide how to interpret the files, we'll tell it exactly what to do using a function called csv.document. Right now, Power Query labels them generically as a column 1, column 2, and so on. We want to use the first row as headers. You can do that visually by clicking Use First Row as headers or directly by typing table.promote headers. Once you apply it, you'll see all columns properly named, account number, account name, amount, etc. This way, when you append the files later, everything aligns correctly with no mismatched fields. Next, let's deal with the null values or empty rows. Sometimes Power Query brings in extra blank lines at the bottom or rows missing account numbers. If an entry doesn't have an account number, we don't need it. So filter out all rows where account number is null. Once filtered, you will see the dataset shrink slightly. That's a good sign. Now, all your remaining records are valid. You may notice a warning. One column shows error for about 4% of the rows. That usually means Power Query tries to interpret blank cells as numbers. Let's fix that by replacing null values with a 0. Go to Transform, Replace Values, type null, and replace with a 0. Now the column becomes 100% valid, no errors, no empties. We can confirm that our data set is now fully clean. account numbers are filled, numeric values are valid, and all columns are consistent. Next, let's check the data types. Account number, whole number, that's fine. Account name, text, correct. Amount, decimal number. Month and date is a date type. Everything looks right. Now we are ready to load this clean data set into the Excel data model. Go to Home, close and load to, only create connections. Then check the box, add this data to the data model. This step is extremely important. It allows us to use this data later for relationships and DAX measures. Click OK, and the Power Query connects everything behind the scenes. In my case, all 912 rows of trial balance have been combined and loaded as one table inside the model. Perfect. That's the entire trial balance process done. Next, we'll bring in the chart of account, or COA. Here's the file. Again, we go to get data from file from workbook. Since Power Query remembers the folder path we used before, it will open the same directory by default. Select the chart of account Excel file and then click OK. You'll see a navigation pane. There's only one sheet, sheet 1, so we'll select that. And again, instead of loading directly, we'll choose transform data to preview and clean if necessary. Immediately, you'll notice Power Query recognizes the column headers, account number, account name, category. It automatically promoted the first row as headers and assigned the proper data types, whole number, text, and so on. That's exactly what we need. Sometimes if a source file isn't clean, you might have to fix the column headers manually, but this one looks perfect. Let's rename the query to chart of account for clarity. Check the quality indicator at the top, 100% valid across all columns. Everything looks clean, no nulls, no errors. Now we'll go through the same process again. Go to Home, close and load to, only create connections, and check add this data to the data model. Click OK, and Power Query adds the COA table into the same data model as our trial balance. Fantastic. Now we have two data tables in the model, the trial balance and the chart of account.